So we're live on Twitch and Twitter Spaces. Some of the things we're going to look at today, targeted with a MetaMask phishing scam through JavaScript. This is great. So this is a hack that we've been talking about for a while. NFT whitelist in air quotes. We'll talk about this whitelist. I've actually got some programming that we can go through together. Dan has got some great slides here. I don't know if we can talk about them, but I snipped out a little part of some of them. The great model of why play to earn doesn't work. So let's get started. So this is something I go through in all my classes. This is like the first thing that I bring up. So I always start off class with this homework. And sometimes it's in English. Here's the homework. And I have a class and it's like, we're going to learn about Solidity today. And here's what we're going to talk about. And here's some steps you got to do beforehand. And this is straight entry level. Like step one is like, go get Discord, edit your photo on GitHub, stuff like that. And one of them is go install Edge or Chrome or whatever, and then create a separate browser profile and don't open Facebook. And then get a special color for that browser. And then don't skip that step. Like that's half of the tutorial. Why are we talking about your browser? There's 5 different steps about setting up your browser. This is why. Your browser has cookies. We still haven't turned off cookies by default for browsers. And even if you do turn off cookies, with the horrible thing that is IPv6, they're worse than cookies. And it's on by default in a lot of this stuff. That's the future of browsers for now. And Google's working on more tracking. And the whole point of cookies is what? Now it's time to grab a beer if you don't have a beer. We are again on Dolly Double. IPA, Flying Fish.
Because humans like to advertise things to each other.
Yeah, that's 80%. So we want to advertise. People going to advertise. But there's a famous quote about advertising. Half the money you spend on advertising is wasted. You just don't know which half. So the whole point of cookies and all the cyber stalking that companies do to do more advertising with less money. And the way that works is they want to tie specifically what you're doing versus what you're going to buy. Okay, so how does that apply? How does that apply to this major hack recently? Something you want to be aware of is if you're using Web3, if you're using a browser, if you're logged into MetaMask, when you're logged into MetaMask, everybody knows that. Every website you go to, even if they don't know what address you are, they know you use MetaMask. Let's look at a quick example of that. So here's me. This is my demo account. I didn't even open MetaMask. It's not even open. I didn't even type the password in. And we're going to load a website like Google. And then I'm going to show you what happens on the terminal here. So we got the terminal open. So this is all stuff that would be running on your computer if Google wants it to. JavaScript. Once you got JavaScript turned off, which you don't, then all this stuff, Google can control all this stuff here, all these different things, right? And then Google can also read stuff from your environment, like window.location. It knows what URL you are accessing on this page. No, big whoops. Okay. And it can also do something like this. Ethereum.is MetaMask and get true. So what I'm telling you is if you're using a browser with MetaMask installed and you didn't even do anything, you didn't even click on nothing, you didn't even open MetaMask, you forgot your password, Google and other people can know and can track and can make cookies tracking that you are a MetaMask person. And that's important because people with MetaMask are 1,000 times more likely to fall for crypto scams than people that don't have MetaMask. More so, people that go to OpenSea or click on anything related to NFTs are 1,000,000 times more likely to fall for NFT scams than people who don't go on OpenSea or use links that click to NFT projects, right? So a very profitable strategy here would be to just sit around, collect this data, find out who uses MetaMask. Oh, and P.S. if they unlock their MetaMask, make a note if they have $1 million or not. Just easily make a list of millionaires and then advertise to those suckers. Oh, and P.S. if you're logged into Facebook, they're automatically doing this all day. I'm kind of conflating the red team and the blue team here. So if we're the blue team, if we're trying to prevent this behavior, it's real easy. When you're logged in on MetaMask, don't log into Facebook. I'm logged in here. I'm not logged into Google right now. Google can track my IP address and do dirty things that way. Use VPNs. But I'm not logged into Google. I'm not giving that away for free. I'm not logged into Twitter in this browser. This is my MetaMask browser. So what happened was, somebody got targeted. Now, this one's an easier target than what I'm describing just because they went to a website on Coinzilla. So the people on Coinzilla are obviously interested in coins, but you can make just as strong of an audience by using Facebook and some cookies like I just talked about. This is a great article on The Verge. Verge is pretty decent. I recommend their publication. So the website I think was called nftapes.win. You get a malicious pop-up. It was an ad script. So CoinGecko, this is on CoinGecko. That sucks. I like CoinGecko. What happened was they allow other people to run JavaScript on their website, which is dangerous and a disaster already. this JavaScript that was being injected allowed a pop-up, and this pop-up allowed to scam people by having this pop-up for MetaMask. And it's got this picture of a skull of an ape, and it's got this website with ape in the URL, and it probably just says click here, and then you click there, and it probably sends all your money to somebody. And people got scammed. People got scammed out of 1.7 million, which is way smaller than normal scams in a normal week. We're used to $100 million scams, and somehow they only managed to get 1.7 million out of this. And this is affecting Etherscan. This is affecting CoinGecko. I mean, so the real question is opportunity to troll a little bit.
Aren't they checking their ads for malicious activity?
You know, sometimes they use iframes. This is called sanitization. So this is the Bobby Tables. We want to have ads on, publishers want to have ads on their website, and they want it to be set up real easy. But unfortunately, sometimes they trust an ad network to put those ads in there. So it's the CoinZilla ad network. And CoinZilla says, okay, well, all you got to do is include this one line of JavaScript, and we're going to pay you every day. And then these websites are like, okay, and they include the line of JavaScript. This third party is like, okay, we're going to handle the fulfillment, we're going to handle the ads for you, we're going to do all this stuff, and we're going to vet them. And then what happened was somebody got some JavaScript in there, and it did some bad things. The easiest way to do that, the easiest way to slip past the detection is you have JavaScript, you get it installed, and you have that JavaScript include some other JavaScript that you control. So everything works great, and then you flip a switch. Now it's injecting something else onto those web pages everywhere, all at once, without anybody doing anything. You do it when everybody's asleep, you just flip it over, and then you start scamming people. Like Google Analytics. There's this one snippet of one line of code that's on about 60% of websites on the internet. And Google, anytime, could just change what that website serves. You could just take over all the usernames and passwords for about 60, 70% of government, commercial, everything websites. And Google hasn't done that yet, and you wouldn't know if they did. That is how JavaScript works. That's how trust works. People trust that Google.com won't get hacked or quantum inserted. And so they put that one line of harmless JavaScript on their website, and then it gets not harmless, and then bad things happen.
Have you seen a published breakdown of some of the code?
All you got to do is get one pop-up on the screen to confirm one transaction. This one right here. So all you got to have is one transaction. And again, people have been pretty much leaving money on the tables with these scams. So this is one of two. So the attacker tried to do two transactions. So they did one, and we talked about this before by people that have been scammed we've had on this call, where they're like, okay, well, I clicked on the one and then I stopped, but there were 10 others that wanted me to click. Instead, these people should be only targeting high-value people. Imagine when you get on the news, one person got spearfished and lost $100 million from JP Morgan. So that's the real spearfishing you want to watch out for. Because these small ones, they get detected too early. $1.7 million? 1.7 million, that's all you got? That's the smallest hack we've ever covered on this phone call. A more recent attempt only snagged $18,000. I mean, that's like a down payment on an NFT. Make sure you have a browser with a different color that you don't use Facebook on every time you suit up to get into Web3. And if you're ever going to do stupid shit like connecting your Discord account to premint.xyz or connecting your Twitter, like that's a whole thing. Make a new browser profile just to connect your premint to your Twitter and deleted the profile. It's gone. It's not on this computer. It's deleted. It's gone. This is OPSEC. If you don't do this, you're going to be in a future call asking me, hey, Will, I'm a little bit hacked. I'm a little bit hacked. Like, am I going to lose everything? Or yes, you're going to lose everything. There's no half pregnant here. You get hacked, it's over. Be more careful. And that sucks. That really sucks because I've been talking about CoinGecko for a long time. I met the team. I went to Malaysia. I met these people. They're serious people. I met them in New York. They're indie project that's taken on CoinMarketCap and has really done great things. And they fell victim too. So this is a real shame. This is a great programming topic. All right, so let's check this out. And we're going to need to install one extension here for code spaces. For a demo, let's check out this one project called NFT whitelist or Merkle. This one. All right, here's a nice project. So we got Merkle Tree NFT whitelist. And this is a common scenario where you're making an NFT drop and you want to give it out to a lot of people, but you want to have an allow list, but you want to enforce it on chain. This is a tool that can help you with that. It's a real simple smart contract, a few lines of code. Basically, it's got a list of people who claim their tokens, and it's got a Merkle proof to make sure you haven't claimed it, and it verifies the Merkle proof, and it mints you a token. And there could be money involved or other stuff, but this is the nugget that, this little nugget here is why you need to make your own smart contract and go through all that rather than just using OpenSea, because you want to use the allow list. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like doing this safely. So the normal way that you would, the old way, is you would fork this repo, You would clone it locally. You would install the stuff. You run npm test. And then PS, if you're in Russia, you just got your whole computer deleted because somebody decided that one of the dependencies, there's thousands of these, in your project is going to be a protest and they hate Russians because of Ukraine attacks. They're just going to wipe out your computer. Whoa. That's not what I signed up for. You didn't sign up for that. This person didn't sign up for that. But one of the dependencies wide upstream has that, and then that's how you get attacked, right? You want to run this on a container. You can run a container locally. You can use Docker. I don't recommend Docker, so we're not going to use Docker. There's another one called Codespaces. So let me show you what that looks like. Put on Codespaces. Sign into GitHub. That's why I'm missing. Here's one Codespace. And so you can make a Codespace. And we're going to connect it to this repo, Merkle Tree NFT whitelist. Pick a branch. And what's happening here is it's kind of like it's a Docker container hosted by GitHub. You don't have to worry about setting up a Docker server or using a droplet or anything like that. And it opens your repo, clones it, spins up your Docker, and then sets up your container however you like it. You specify using this thing called a dev container. And I've got a specification here. I don't know where I got this one. It runs yarn install. None of this is running on my computer. I can run rmrf/, no problem. So now here I am. I can just do yarn test. Now you got to pay for it. This is like 18 cents an hour to use this. And I'm getting it for free because I'm telling you about it. Maybe that's why. It's pretty decent. And I'll get off of Codespaces as soon as I can get Podman to work, which is free and local. Okay, so I got this installed. We're going to test it. Hopefully that works. Passed. Okay, so there's one test and I passed it. And this Mocha didn't work. Well, we're about Mocha later. But my test was able to run. So I have a little JavaScript test here. And it's running a lot of stuff here. It's calculating the weight of my yarn dependencies. It's running all this stuff inside the code space. So it's not on my computer. It's entirely isolated and totally safe. The only thing I can't do is I can't commit code. I have a little issue here because I signed my commits, so that doesn't really work with this too well. But I just wanted to show you a fork that I have on this repo. And the reason why is because the upstream allows you to get on a whitelist and then sell the buy token. But here I wanted to update that so that the allow list here will have a quantity limit. So you can have an allow list quantity of 5 or 3 or 1. So the old implementation was kind of just an allow list of 1, but I'm allowing any number.
What do you think of services like Freeman that do that and a bit more, but they are doing it for you?
That's the same. So that's the counterpart. So these things work together. So the output of Freeman is a list of people. You can't paste that list into OpenSea. It doesn't work that. There's no paste list. So when you have that list, you've got to somehow enforce that only those people can get that thing. I mean, OpenSea, obviously, they're going to come out with this eventually. Too many people want this. But there's no point and click way to make an access list attached to an NFT drop. I'm working on this. I'm actually programming this. So it's not public yet. I can tell you about it. Light's working on this.
I think that would be, if Freeman doesn't do that, that would be a useful service because a lot of people who are creating, NFT collections or doing whatever, they're not going to go through all that themselves.
It's an obvious thing that it's a feature that people want. I mean, I guess it's in OpenSea's interest to offer that because OpenSea's still getting money. They're getting a percentage. They're not getting a percentage. So on OpenSea, everything's an auction. They get money if there's an auction, but they don't get money if it's a direct offer. So if it's a pre-mint, they're not getting that money. So, and assuming that OpenSea only wants money, then they wouldn't offer that feature. If they just had you do everything by an auction, then OpenSea is better served because they get the auction fee. But yeah, we could make a service here. I mean, we could totally just make a service to create this contract and deploy it. This should be part of Solidity template. Light.art. This is a client, and they've got an upcoming NFT launch. Light.art. I'm working on their NFT contract, and it is fire. So it has this feature. It has pre-minting. It has different prices for pre-minters, multiple pre-mints, not just 1 or 2. And it connects directly to premint.xyz. This is a completely open source, so you can just steal all the code I'm writing, which is great. One person pays me to do stuff, and then everyone else can use it for free. Definitely good stuff you can study, and we can make it real easy with one button. So that's my plan, is to make it into one button. Dan slides. So I saw a couple slides from Dan. The thesis here is that play to earn, the picture is just beautiful. Just shows why play to earn doesn't work.
Yeah, the ones with the graph different business models.
Yeah. I love, you always got to start with like, here's the web 2.0. This is real simple.
So the point was I was trying to explain how games make money in a sustainable way. I just tried to use a simple model to explain that. If we think of people putting value and money into the game and ecosystem and people taking it out, and look at the different business models, we can see traditional games. It's like you have people who pay into the game ecosystem, and then developers take money out because they need to get paid for the development work they do. And that's like a typical system, and it works. It's sustainable because there are not more people trying to take money out of the system than put it in.
So clear.
Right, yeah. You'd think it'd be kind of obvious.
You have to start presentations with obvious shit because people don't get it. And then they think things are complicated. They're not complicated. They're scams. So they're like, I don't understand play to earn. It's because there's nothing to understand. It's a scam. And you just start with something that makes sense, and then you say it slower, and you keep the slide on the screen for like a half hour. You're like, do you really understand how this works today and why this is how the world works? And you're like, okay, here's some other shit people are coming up with, and it's not going to work.
The next one is if you want to have other people earning from the ecosystem, there's another model that works, which is you have creators who add value to the ecosystem, and they expect to be paid in return. And that can work, but then the developer has to share what they're taking out with the creators. And that can be balanced if it's matched by what payers are playing in. Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, to some extent, are all examples like this. The same model as social media today in advertising. The payers are not users, but they're advertisers. And then the developer shares what they're earning with creators.
All right, so now we got the whammy slide.
The whammy slide.
Play to earn.
On the left, it's people paying into the ecosystem, and on the right, it's people taking monetary value out of the ecosystem. The whole premise of play to earn, utopian ideal, is that there's a great game ecosystem, and everyone who's part of it is earning money from it. That doesn't make any sense, and that's what Axie Infinity was trying to do. The developer was going to take money out of the system, and all these people were earning.
And it's sending money to the earners, and there's no money coming in. It's just printing money perpetually. And so it says negative sum game.
But what's funny is a couple days ago, the product manager for Axie Infinity wrote a blog post. So Axie Infinity, they coined the term play to earn, and they were ushering in this new utopia where everyone can make money from games. And that was like their banner term for this. The blog post earlier this week, the product manager, Philip Lott, made this list of things that needed to happen to like fix blockchain game ecosystems and Axie Infinity. Number one was move away from the terminology of play to earn. I don't know. I don't want to question anybody's motivations. I think it's if things are look like they're going great, it's very easy to believe.
For sure.
There should be logical reasons that keep going great. It's just a crazy total 180. There are some ways for it to work. I think we have a question. Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Welcome.
Really happy to meet you. Actually, I just want to comment, Dan. I really like the demonstration. The whole system needs some people who are payers. Consumers, rather, they pay monetary value in some tokens that's not issuable from the game ecosystem, right? Like it can be the US dollar, the fiat currency, or it can be some other tokens as long as they're not issued by the game ecosystem. So someone needs to pay into the system an outside coin. Otherwise, it's basically zero sum or negative sum because there's no input there. Without payers, without consumers who put money in without anticipating money out, it's pretty much like Ponzi for investors.
Thanks. Yeah, and it's not always on purpose. It's easy to delude ourselves if things look like they're going well in the beginning, and we come up with really complicated logic on why it'll always be that way. There are models that side. So it's just, you can have people who are earning in the game. It's just the same as that earlier model with creators. It's like the developer just has to share some of what they earn from people who are paying with the earners. But you have to have the people who are paying, and maybe it's a small subset of what's called in the app industry like whales, people who pay a lot because they think it's a lot of fun, and maybe the earners are, I don't know, farming things for them or somehow making it a more enjoyable experience.
If we have farmers, why do we call them whales? Why aren't they serfs?
That might be the worst joke.
This is an actual criticism of play to earn, by the way. I'm not trying to make a joke. Like, I'm trying to compare.
But yeah, you're right. Like then, well, if it's a job, then it's a job. That's the expectation should be coming to. People who work in Disneyland, you don't call them serfs, but it's the same thing. It's like they're working to, and it's stuff that's not fun, so that people who are paying having fun. I can see like the dystopian in the metaverse is just like everyone's a slave to rich people. It's like a very extreme perspective. Unless, you think any existing economy is like that.
Right. So this is why long term the messaging determines whether it's a serfdom or if it's a game. The victor writes the history books. I just wanted to be a little cynical for a second because I've seen those articles.
I have an example to support games. In casinos, there are various players, right? And you can use the examples of slot machine, and which is like creating illusions that you're going to win more than you put in. Actually, statistically, people would put more money than ultimately what they get. And also, there are other skill-based games, right? Or a mix of skill-based and game of chance, which is like Texas Hold'em, right? Some of the people are going to win because they are more skillful than others in the long run. I think the point is someone has to pay, and someone has to realize that they're paying or not realizing they're paying, but like continuously put into this ecosystem monetary value without actually gaining.
So I'm gonna be real cynical, not just about this, but about Web3 in general. If one of your first 5 people that you hire on your team has the word tokenomics in their title, you're short-term thinking. So I'm always looking for teams that are rounded out and that are not just thinking about token price. And token price can get you very far, but you can't get all the way. Axie Infinity works until it doesn't.
When you're talking about the teams with a tokenomics person, it made me think of like in the old world, if you meet a tech startup and like they're the 5th person on the team is an investment banker and they're talking about their IPO before they have any product.
That'd be a fun experiment. Like look at projects and look at the team titles. All right, these are great slides. Thanks for sharing, Dan.